Well, it's finally happening. Gizelle Bryant is here! Yay! Oh my God, we've been waiting all season for you to come in. I'm so happy.
Me too. Me too. This is like, and it's like towards the end of the season, so we have so much to talk about.
Oh my God, so much to talk about.
Yeah.
Well, the reunion was just yesterday.
Yes.
How are you feeling? Yeah.
I feel good. I feel like there wasn't anything that I really wanted to address that I didn't. I feel like, I was going into the reunion not feeling like, oh my gosh, I need to have all these questions answered or anything like that. I was kind of like not the bad guy this season. So I felt good.
Yeah. You were just saying that you wanted to clear up the Kendall stuff.
Yeah. Well, let's be clear. This was not my friend. This was not anybody. I didn't have her phone number. We were not girlfriends or besties or, going to have drinks. No. This was somebody that I did know, and she was brought on the show by Monique. And Monique doesn't want to own that. And that's fine, but we all know now.
Mm. Right, because she was at her house filming.
She was at her house filming. She was, her big thing in front of the cameras was, I would never invite her to an event that Gizelle is also going to attend, but that's not the issue. The issue behind the scenes is you've been the master manipulator to bring her on the show and to try to hurt me. So it's just like, that's why we're not friends. Like, she likes to say, oh, I don't know why Gizelle doesn't like me. Well, you do know because of all the things that you're doing behind the scenes to try to destroy my relationship with my boyfriend. Like, who does that?
I feel like this season things got really heavy.
Yeah, definitely.
Why do you think that happened? Or
I think heavy with everybody a little bit. I was actually shocked with Ashley that she shared that she had a miscarriage. Didn't see that coming. Actually, I was with her and I knew she was pregnant, but she wasn't saying she was pregnant. But I didn't. I wasn't ready for her to say that she had a miscarriage. So that was kind of sad, kind of heavy. Karen has lost both of her parents since we filmed the show. So, I don't know how she's still standing, to be quite honest with you. And really want to be there for her as a friend. Yes, we have our issues. Yes, we fuss and fight, but we do have a genuine love for one another. And no one wants to see someone that they love hurting like Karen is hurting. Monique, she just low down and dirty. Okay. So she really wants to, anybody that's going to plot and plan before we even start filming to try to, manipulate a plan to try to hurt me. It's just like somebody that I'll never consider to be a friend or anybody that I can even possibly trust. No.
I was going to say, because even the cheers at the end, there was still so much tension between you two.
Yes, because I thought that at the reunion, she would really be honest and say what she did and apologize. So, because I'm of the belief that no, I'm not perfect. I make mistakes. I throw shade. But if it's too much or if the person really, really has a problem with it, I apologize. I'm the first one to apologize. So I think she just is someone that can't own their mistakes and can't really say, yes, I've done some things that are horrible. And I have a problem with that. So there's that. And then how about this? Me and Miss Candiace. I think at the end we cleared the air and, I told her I'd be more than happy to come to her wedding.
I know. I was shocked that happened. So you might be there.
I think she better send me an invitation. Yeah.
Right. I know. I was so happy that happened.
Yes. I didn't know that her big issue was that she felt like I didn't want to be there. I just felt like she was not inviting me to be mean. And I'm like, that's not really mean to me because, I would enjoy not going and staying home. It's probably on a Saturday. I could have a long weekend. Thank you very much. But she took it as I didn't want to be there. But because she was kind of offended by it, I'm like, okay, let's all get along. And I would love to be there. Who doesn't love a good wedding?
Right. And this one, we've heard so much about it. I can't wait to see it.
Wait a minute. And once he came out with those white pants and that jacket on, Lord, what is he going to wear for the wedding?
I asked him, I was like, is this a preview? I'm like, what we're going to get?
I said, good God, I got to be there for that.
Absolutely. Going back a little bit, Do you think if Monique totally owned up and said she was sorry, would you be able to move on, or is it like...
Yeah. I mean, I could definitely try for sure. And then, there's the whole social media piece, which I hope that she took Andy's advice, because Andy's advice is like, look, if you have a social media page run by your brother, that's your official fan page, and he's just trashing the rest of these girls on the show, they can't trust you. They can't be your friend. And he even gave the example of, it was my sister and she's trashing Housewives, I'd tell her to stop. Like, you got to cut it out. Enough is enough. And she's been doing it since her first season. I guess this is her second season. She's been doing it since day one for her.
Wow. I want to talk a little bit about how you're always next to Andy. What is that like? Is there like extra pressure on you?
Anybody who's always next to Andy is in trouble. No, I mean, clearly I'm the focal point. I have a lot to say. So, it's good that I'm there, because I'm always tapping him like, wait a minute, I have something else. No, it's not. I don't feel like it's pressure. I just feel like you need to be ready to talk a whole lot.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What did you think of the couch divide?
The only shock that I figured that that's how it was going to be, but the only shock was that Robyn was not next to me.
I was surprised too.
Yes, I mean, she's been next to me season 1, season 2. I was like, oh, they separated us. And we have so many side comments to each other that I was kind of sad she wasn't there. And I told Ashley, I was like, Ashley, I love you and all, no shade, but I want Robyn next to me. She was like, oh, Gizelle.
Ashley, backstage, I was asking her who was most likely to interrupt Andy, and she was like, well, definitely Gizelle or Karen. That's why they're closest.
Yes, indeed. And Karen and I, we could have been there all night bickering back and forth. Mm-hmm. But my heart went out to her when she started talking about her parents. I mean, it's just so beyond sad.
I know. Well, I wanted to talk about you went and followed her when she left.
Yeah, I actually was going to give her space, because I know how I am, and I know if I'm feeling like I'm crying or in a moment, then I just want to be by myself. But no, she needed some love. Mm-hmm. So, and she was really, really going through, she was shaking. It's just too much. And I don't ever want her to feel like she doesn't have friends. And that was actually my issue with her this season. I was like, yo, you're shutting me out when we're just trying to be your friend. But we don't know what to befriend, because we don't know what's really the truth. So hopefully moving forward, things will get better.
Do you regret at all the t-shirt or anything?
That damn t-shirt. Do I regret it? Not really, only because, like I said at the reunion, I asked Karen to have a conversation with me off camera. I asked, if you don't want to do it off camera, let's do it on camera. I told her, I was like, yo, you shouldn't have this conversation with all the girls. It's going to go left. It's not going to be good. Now, I didn't know that she had also planned not to feed us. We always act like straight idiots when we don't have any food. And she then quoted want to press us down. What does that even mean? I don't get it. So because of all of that, I was like, yeah, I'm happy I wore this t-shirt, and I'm taking it off so you can read the back. The end.
I love it.
Yeah.
What did you think of everyone's outfit?
Oh, wow. Okay, let's see. Where am I starting? Oh, let's start with Tweety Bird over there, all the way on the end. I love the yellow color. I loved her accessories. I did not like her shoes with that dress. She had on navy blue shoes.
Yeah, they were dark.
Yeah, otherwise, I was looking for something a little bit more jewelry, even like a pewter or just, jewels on her feet.
Yeah, maybe more delicate.
Yes, but she looked fine. Monique, I think, will probably struggle trying to find a dress because she's pregnant, so we'll give her a pass.
Okay.
Karen, I didn't understand the big tulle thing in the back. You have to think about it sitting down. This tulle is not going to work out sitting down. We just going to sit on tulle all day?
I mean, that's what happened.
Yeesh. So, okay, I'll consult with her, season 4. Robyn's dress was beautiful. Robyn was content. Like she was like, I'm gonna wear a purple dress. I'm gonna wear a purple dress. I'm gonna look for a purple dress. If I don't find a purple dress, I'm gonna get a purple dress made. Okay? And I was like, ready, set, go. So she couldn't find a purple dress. So she had that made. And I thought it was beautiful.
I loved it.
Yes. And Robyn, can we say shout out to the haircut?
I know. I literally saw her in the hallway. I was like, Robyn, oh my God. It looks so good.
She looked absolutely gorgeous.
She's like meant to have that hair.
I think so, yes. Now, I did hear that short hair is hard to keep up with. Like, you really got to have it done all the time or whatever. So we'll see. But I think she looks fantastic. And then Ashley was...
She had like the blue.
Yeah, the light blue. I didn't think that was... I liked the dress. I didn't think that was the best color for Ashley. I like to see Ashley in bolder colors. Yeah, but she, Ashley's fine. I feel like Ashley can kind of do a lot of things. Like, she's a pretty girl, the big hair. But yeah, I just didn't like that color.
Yeah.
And then there was me. Oh, she was great. She was fantastic. She comes to slay.
You told me about your earrings before I saw them, but they were amazing.
My dress?
Your earrings.
My earrings, right.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were so good.
I was unsure a little bit. And then, our stylist is Eric Archibald. And, he has this accent. And he was like, darling, the earrings, yes, everything. So I was like, okay, I'm good.
Yeah, no, they like went, but they weren't matchy.
Right.
So I loved them.
You're right. And I think it just like totally set the whole look off.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. I wanted to talk a little bit about Ray. Kind of like gave it to you a little bit at the reunion.
He did. And you know what? I let him do it. You saw me. I just sat there and everything in me said, just let him have his moments. Ray doesn't take into accountability his wife and her actions. He wants to put it all on Gizelle. Like, Gizelle's the bad guy. But I did feel bad about okay, let's be clear. Was the Ray Erica story true? Yes. Did I need to tell the world? No. So, Karen and I have known each other for years. There's a whole lot of things I could say about Karen, and I don't. It's not necessary. And that was probably one of the things. But I did apologize.
You did.
I did. I was like, hold up. Let me do this now. And he was like, I don't want to hear it. Whatever.
Right. He just like repeated himself at the end again.
Yeah. Yeah. But again, like, you can't talk about all the ladies and not take into accountability your wife. Like, if you want to say that you wish we were nicer to each other, well, you got to tell your wife to be nicer to me.
Absolutely.
The end.
Yeah. Even after yesterday, do we think she lives in that house? Like
I said yesterday, I think she lives in a portion of it. Now, mind you, I just did another interview and I said, no, I don't think she lives there. So
you're telling us one thing and the other people, Gizelle.
I know, I got to get it together. All right. So, I don't know. And truth be told, it's weird. Let me tell you why it's weird. Potomac is a small town. People ask me about these girls all day long. And they ask me all the time, like, does Karen really live in Great Falls? And I get that question from random people at the gas station. And I just feel like I really want to be like confident in my answer. And I'm just not.
What is that like? What do people always ask you?
Okay. First question. When I tell you first question is Karen crazy? And I'm like, absolutely. Okay. She's absolutely crazy. But I love her. Second question, is Ashley married to the old man? And I'm like, yes. And I like the old man. Yes, we like Michael. And you know what? Side note, he really teared up when Ashley would start talking about the miscarriage and everything. And I was like, oh my God. Like, going from, I don't know if this man wants to have kids, to they got pregnant and he's really upset that she lost the baby, was really nice to see. So kudos to Michael. And Michael let Ray have it, okay?
Oh my gosh.
That was epic. All right, on that note, goodbye.
So we are here with Ashley Darby. How are you?
I'm great, ladies. How are you doing today?
So good.
Good.
You just gave me some M&Ms.
I did.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, babe. I just feel so bad because I'm like, I know I was supposed to have this to you on Friday and today's the next Friday, but here you go. And you're always still so nice. You're like, oh, thanks.
I always want to ask housewives, like on a scale from 1 to 10, how much do you hate writing blogs?
Oh my God.
You're like 15.
I don't really mind mind it once I start going, but it's the thought of doing it. It's like lingering over me. But then once I get into the groove and my fingers start going, you know, the Twitter fingers, all of a sudden it just flows out. I'm like, oh, that was it. But then I forget that. It's like when people have babies and they have the pain of childbirth, but they like forget that they had that pain during childbirth. That's kind of, I forget that I had so much fun when I did the blog, and I just think about how daunting it'll be to do it again.
When I send out the email that's like time for blogs to Real Housewives of New York or Beverly Hills, both Dorinda and Kyle Richards wrote, "Ugh," in response. And I was like, oh, okay. Sorry.
But in actuality, I think it's a great opportunity for us to tell a different side of the story that maybe wasn't covered. So
Totally.
I appreciate them. I like them. I just don't like actually doing them.
Right.
But I love the questions. They're great.
Oh, good. You're welcome. I try really hard.
I can tell. It's great.
So we were talking about how you guys are in your third season of the show, Real Housewives of Potomac, and 3 seasons is a lot, but in terms of Real Housewives franchise, you're still sort of the newbies.
Right.
Do you ever feel that way when you're around other housewives? Is there hazing?
There's no hazing. Everyone's very supportive. When I did vagina monologues with Kenya and Charrisse the first time in Michigan, they announced us. So it's like, first coming to the stage is Teresa Giudice. Like, wow, so great. And then coming to the stage is Kenya Moore. Wow, so great. And then coming to the stage, Ashley Darby. You're like, it was, and Kenya was like, "Don't worry, Ashley, it'll." This was after first season, so I understood that we were still fairly new, and so I didn't take it personally. But she was like, "Don't worry." She actually patted me on the back. She's like, "Don't worry, it'll get there." I said, "Thanks, Kenya."
That's so sweet.
Speaking of other shows, do you watch other things on
Oh yeah,
Bravo?
I love Southern Charms New Orleans. Such a good show. Yes. And I had the chance to meet Reagan and Tamika just by chance. They were actually here at the Bravo headquarters.
Yeah.
And then I was in Tao because I had come to like do some appearance, and we met in Tao.
No way.
Just by coincidence, we were both there at the bar.
Oh my God, I love that.
Did you recognize them? Did they recognize you?
Yeah.
Well, Reagan recognized me because we have friends in common. So she recognized me first. And I was like, "Hey, girl." And they're like so excited. They had just come from here, so they were just like on cloud 9, you know.
Did you give them any advice?
Maybe.
Oh.
Wait, no,
Oh, don't you guys want to know?
Yes, we do.
Yes, I gave them advice.
Don't say be yourself.
Well, but you got me, girl, red-handed. But that is probably the most valid advice you can get.
Right.
Because the reality is, A, you led a life prior to Housewives. So you have a reputation, people know you. So when they hear you say or do things on the show, they'll be like, that's not right. That's not what you were doing last year or who you were. And they will call you out.
Right.
And that will spread like wildfire. So it's just best to be your authentic self, walk in the same stride that you always have. Some of my castmates could take that advice to heart.
Ooh, who?
Ashley's looking
Well,
at me like...
If you've been watching the show, which I hope you have,
Of course.
then you would know exactly who I'm talking about. Someone who called me out on Twitter the other day saying that I've never lived in Potomac, which is true. I have never lived in Potomac, but I could actually afford to live in Potomac, unlike this person. So I have the choice. She doesn't.
I love this.
Who else do you hate?
I don't hate anyone. I just really get mad when actions and words don't align. That really irritates the behoots out of me.
You were kind of talking about being your authentic self. You have come onto the scene in Potomac kind of as someone who isn't afraid to bring up some bones, to talk about stuff going on. Like, you're a straight shooter, you bring stuff up even if it's awkward. Have you always been like that?
I have always been someone who expresses themselves. I'm a millennial, and I think that me being a millennial is very different from some of these baby boomers, and I forget what Robyn is, like Generation X or something like that. I don't know. But I come from an age of being very upfront. Everything is on social media. I'm expressive. And so if I don't hide behind any facade, why should you hide behind a facade first? Secondly, we're on this platform where we are sharing our lives and we're sharing our stories. So your story, your true authentic self can actually inspire and motivate somebody. So how about you just do and say what you actually do versus trying to create this false picture? That's the problem in society, is everyone seems to hide behind like smiling faces when in actuality they can be, really heartbroken inside. Stop that. If you have financial problems, it's okay. We've all had financial problems. We've all been broke at some point in time. Let me tell you, we've all lived off of ramen noodles at some point. So just be it, live it, do it. And I'm upfront with my stuff. I'm upfront about what happens with my family. I'm upfront about what happens with my marriage. I will candidly tell everybody that that's not Michael Darby who is supposedly in that picture. If that were Michael, I would tell you. At this point, I'd be like, damn, y'all, that's Michael. That's just who I am. I practice what I preach, promise.
Yeah, the women seemed so sure it was him. I remember even before it came out on the show, I feel like they were in for some interviews and had said it.
I bet they did, because for me to be the person who spotlights things and who kind of brings things to the table, how great would it be to turn the tables on me, to pull a Teresa on me and have me be the one who all of a sudden is like, oh, caught with my pants down. But that just doesn't work, because I don't do that.
Right.
If Michael was bisexual or gay, I'd be like, all right, what is there any shame in that? Do I have anything to hide? Absolutely not. So it is what it is.
Are you ever surprised or nervous bringing out something that people might not want to come to light? How do you feel that?
Yeah, I'm always really apprehensive about sharing myself. When I started first season, I think that I was a little bit more reserved, partially because my husband was reserved. He was worried about how it would affect his job, for us to talk about our real life issues in front of the world, because he also is from a different generation. Thinking about how what I talk about will affect other people is the most trying thing for me. It's not really about how it will affect me, because if I say it and it's about me, I can take it. It's more so talking about how I perceive other people, whether it be my castmates or the relationship with my mom and how we're faring, and then any struggles that I have in my marriage.
How has your mom reacted to the honest conversations you guys have had on camera and her seeing it on TV?
Oof, it's been pretty rough for us. I anticipated that my mom would be angry at me and that she would stop talking to me. Thankfully, she said that's where we were. That was a very raw and true showcase of what was going on between us. So I'm not mad that we shared it. It still really hurts me. She was crying about it because it takes us right back to that moment, but she's not angry. Now, some of these trolls online, however, who want to attack my mom and call her names, alcoholic, drug addict, freeloader, this and that, I'm like, well, you can say what you want about me, Cletus, but do not come from my mother. That's where the line is drawn, you know?
Right.
Woo, baby.
A common theme that we find with our Bravo celebrities is that they like watch themselves and they kind of learn something they never did. Like Stassi talks about that when talking about Patrick being like, I had no idea my relationship was like that. Watching yourself now with your mom, or your mom watching herself, has it been eye-opening at all?
It's been incredibly eye-opening for her. She even told me that her boyfriend, who I've talked about very openly on the show, said to her, I didn't know that I was that bad. So that moment of reflection to me meant a lot, because it hurts me that it had to be this public in order for him to take heed to it. But then I was just happy that he did. I'm like, yes, we haven't gotten along for almost 16 years, but the fact that you even made that comment and had that level of self-awareness, it made me feel, it kind of made up for some of the other feelings that I'm having about telling my story, because it has benefit.
Yeah.
That's amazing to hear. I'm so happy.
There's been a lot of drama with Candiace so far this season, and I always wonder, do you feel any sort of responsibility because you brought her into the group?
Oh my God, I wish you could see Ashley's face right now.
Do I feel responsibility for Candiace? Girl, not one bit. Candiace is very opinionated, and she has something to prove, whether it be to me, herself, her family, I don't know, but she's got something to prove. So whether it was I brought her into the group or anyone else did, girlfriend was going to come out the gates swinging. And she did, and she has. She could tone it down a little bit. You guys don't know, you don't see this right now, but she talks in the third person all the time. and it drives me up a wall. I'm like, how many people am I talking to here? Are there 3 of us in this conversation or just 2? She this and she that and she. Who is she? I just can't. Can we speak first person here? That was a little, got that off my chest. It's been bothering me. It's so irritating to me. Gizelle does it too. It also bothers me, but Gizelle doesn't do it nearly as much as Candiace does.
Right.
Yeah.
Speaking of Gizelle, I think I'm still flabbergasted that you two are getting along now, and I know fans are. Like, how did that happen?
The turning point for my relationship with Gizelle was when I was going through my separation with Michael. And the only 2 people who really reached out to me were Robyn and Gizelle, because they had both been through it. They knew, especially publicly, they both offered me lots of words of encouragement and offered to be there for me. So that was when our relationship really took a change.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. I was really in a bad space while we weren't together because I was hiding it. I wasn't telling anybody about the fact that we were separated. So it was like I couldn't talk to anyone. My friends were the only people I could really talk to, but yet people were recognizing me in the building that I was living in. And so they were like, oh, why are you in this building? And I had to make up an excuse. I didn't like that. I didn't like lying about that.
Do you feel like the issues that you've had to face in your marriage are just a result of like marriage is hard and it's hard for everyone? Or is there anything that you've learned that you're like, I wish I had known or done something different before I walked down the aisle?
It's really about marriage in general. When you marry someone, you marry them for who they are in that moment, or you marry them for what they have gone through in that moment. You don't realize, and no one can even prepare you for how that person will change, because you don't even know how you will change. So how can you predict the behavioral patterns of another person? And especially for Michael and I, who are in very different points in our lives, period, it's been even more trying. It's been more volatile, trying to find a way to accommodate each other through our changes in life. But we're not giving up on it. Like, we're just both committed to it. And it still gets rough and rocky, let me tell you. But we have the common goal of wanting to be together. So.
Right. That's great.
But I have to ask you about this pizza delivery investigation into Karen Huger's home.
So, a little birdie told me that Karen does not live at her house in Great Falls. If she couldn't afford to pay her mortgage for the house in Potomac, how could she afford a $10,000 rent for this beautiful McMansion in Great Falls? It just wasn't adding up. So Michael said, well, why don't you find out? And I was like, good idea. So really, Michael was the brainchild behind that.
Oh my God, I love this.
Yes. Michael was the one who had the idea. And I was like, oh, okay. So then we fleshed it out. Gizelle and I fleshed it out as to what that would actually look like. And we decided that a pizza delivery would be the best way. And that the best person to use would obviously be Robyn, because Karen can't stand Robyn. So why not just throw Robyn into the fire? It just made perfect sense in the time. It was great.
Oh my God, that's amazing. I love that it was Michael.
Oh, yeah, it was Michael. Yeah, I can't even take credit for that, even though I do.
I'm already excited for the reunion.
I know. It should be interesting.
Speaking of Karen, I wanted to get your take on Matt.
Who? What does Gizelle call him? Opie? I mean,
Yeah.
he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy, but I just don't know where he came from. That's all.
Yeah, okay. He's
I
kind of...
didn't know if he was always in the peripheral or something.
Now, Karen says that he was friends with her son. But yet, we have never seen Matt or talked to Matt, but all of a sudden Matt is your assistant. It was weird. It was so strange.
Okay.
But I do see that Matt is friends with other housewives. He's friends with Sonia, and he's friends with Melissa Gorga.
Never trust a housewife fan on show.
You need to put that on a shirt and give it to Karen, okay? Just like Gizelle did her free Uncle Ben, you need to put, don't trust housewife fans. Happy birthday. Her birthday's in April. There we go.
I did want to ask you about Monique. When's the last time you guys have talked?
Monique and I are going through a difficult time right now because when we had the lunch, she and I had alcohol, quite a bit of it. And the bartender was really nice. He liked us both, so he kept giving us rounds of drinks. And because we were in such great conversation, because we talk, and it just flows. Like, we just vibe with each other. We were putting him down. And I said to her, I was like, girl, are you okay to drive? She said, oh, yeah, I'm fine. And I got in my car, and I was like, I'm not okay to drive. So I had to sit in my car for 30 minutes just to and drink water. And even then, I probably shouldn't have driven, to be honest with you. So when I learned that Monique had gotten into an accident the next day, it was like, oh my gosh, that maybe I should have insisted a little bit more that she not drive. Then when we went to Nemacolin and she said she was tired because she's been working, it was just, to me, a time for her to be upfront and honest and say what really happened. Like, I'm going through a stressful time. I had this miscarriage. I'm stressing out. I haven't really confronted it. And maybe now I'm drinking a little bit more than usual. That was what I expected her to do. I didn't really anticipate her getting defensive and to say people I'm lying and calling me this and calling me that. It's like, this is a time for you to just be vulnerable, open up, and share. And I know that she has her issues with Robyn and Gizelle, but they're moms too. And they do care, surprisingly. No matter what, if it's something about your health or your kids, we do come together. So...
Had you been able to get past it, and then has this like reopened it now that it's airing now?
We've never gotten past it. It's something that is just, it's an ongoing discussion. She feels like I betrayed her, and I can understand how she feels that way. However, it was not meant to be that way. It was meant to be constructive. She doesn't take it as such. She got very defensive. Monique doesn't really like being called out. She doesn't like when anything goes against what she's trying to promote. So if she's saying that she's doing this and, you know, I'm a boss and I'm doing this on the show, and then something happens in her life that reveals maybe she's not as in control as she thought she was, or as she tries to show the world, she gets really upset. That's what this is. And I'm on the receiving end of it right now. So I can only hope that she finds her truth. And if she is stressed out, if she is worried, she goes to a therapist. I'm a huge fan of therapy. Woo, baby. Love it. I used to want to be a therapist, and so now I see why. I love it. It's so great to be able to talk about your problems. And a miscarriage is very traumatic.
Right. That was kind of in the back of my head the whole time, and I was like, why aren't you just I mean, I know it's very personal, but I think it coincides.
It does. I really don't think that it's a coincidence that it happened that way. I mean, she drank the bottle of wine on the bus. It's like she's just trying to, I think, run away from maybe some of those feelings, because they're not comfortable feelings. And we all cope with things differently. We all have different defense mechanisms. So whatever is her truth, I hope she finds it. But I certainly know mine, and I'm not lying.
Well, what can fans expect for the rest of the season?
Woo. We are just really getting into some, I don't know how to describe them, but like there's some ripples in the group, and friendships are being tested. It's like you wonder, will these friendships actually remain? I don't know.
I think you do know, Ashley.
No, I still don't know.
She's like, I'm waiting for the reunion.
Well, I may, we've been talking, like, we talk sometimes. And some of the people who I've been talking to, y'all trying to get me in trouble, trying to get me in all types of trouble.
No, us?
I know I can't really get in trouble with you guys because you make the show. So what can...
Right.
Yeah, so I can't really get in trouble with you. But, yeah.
Are there like group chats? Who's in which group chats? Like what's going on there?
Oh, that's a really good question.
And what are the
has
names?
Asked that.
Yeah.
No one's asked that question before.
That's why we're the best.
You are the best. Because this is a thing. So when the show first started, we were all in a group chat together. And then Karen got a new number or something, and no one just bothered to add Karen's new number to the chat. So Karen was omitted from so many correspondences that we were all having between each other. Then as time went on, you start seeing like little break-offs. Like then I learned that Charrisse and Monique always talk, obviously. I have a group chat with Robyn and Gizelle. And then we had a group chat all together, and Charrisse was like, I'm bowing out. I don't want to be a part of this conversation.
Show us the text.
I really am tempted to. I was so surprised. Charrisse said, these don't pertain to me. I'm out. And she left the group chat. It was spicy.
Yes.
My jaw literally dropped to the floor. I was like, and she said it in such a way. It was not a Charrisse thing to do because Charrisse is very like, you know, she's like a mom. She's the group mom, without a doubt. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
She's pulling them up. She's pulling them
I'm
up.
pulling them up right now. Let me find it. Charrisse is going to kill me.
It'll be fine.
We won't tell her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so this was when we were planning to have our premiere party. And Charrisse says, I hate to be rude, but can I be removed from this conversation? And left. That was it.
But why?
Because I think that Charrisse, she's very sensitive, and I don't know if she felt... I think that the reason Charrisse felt that way was because things had happened between her and Monique, and their friendship had taken some turns, and all of that just, I think, compounded. Felt bad for her. But she's still, like, we all talk still, and she called me the other day. We still have a friendship. I think that maybe she was feeling a little bit slighted.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you so much,
We're
Ashley.
getting the wrap up.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we would stay here forever.
No,
Yes,
that's okay. This is
seriously.
good.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you, guys.
Candiace. So we are here with Monique.
Hey, I'm so happy to
Hi.
be here.
Thank you. So it's your second season.
Yes.
How-
Time is flying.
Yeah, I'm sure. How are you finding it compared to your first?
Oh, the first season was a lot more fun.
Oh.
I was totally oblivious. So
Okay.
the second season, you're more aware. You hear what the viewers have to say. So it's a little bit of a job just maintaining who you are to make sure that you're not trying to please the viewers or, you know, you just want to continue being yourself. So, you know, it was very interesting, very eventful season 3.
Yeah, it must be hard not to get people's tweets and thoughts in your head.
No, actually, it's not that hard for me. I enjoy it. I actually enjoy everyone voicing their opinion. It really doesn't bother me. I've never been a person that really cares what other people think of me. So I'm just like, whatever. Some people will like me. Some people will hate me. And, you know, can't expect everybody to just want to be my friend. So it is what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like a hard lesson sometimes for people to learn on Housewives, that you're not necessarily going to get along with everyone.
Yeah. And, you know, I think that was the gift of me being with a former NFL player because we dated for 5 years of his 10-year career. So I was around NFL wives, and this kind of reminds me of that time. So I had a little bit of a learning period years ago. So my husband prepared me without even knowing that he prepared me for this show.
Speaking of, Chris is in the room. Hi, Chris. I just wanted to get that like barrel voice on in the background. Well, now that you're in your second season, do you know any other housewives from other cities? Have they reached out?
Yes. I actually talked to Leanne Locken from Dallas. I talked to Carrie Duber from Dallas. I talked to Deandra a lot over Twitter.
Really?
Yes. I call her sis all the time. She's so sweet. I love my Dallas girls. And I talked to Tinsley from New York. She and I have the same publicist.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so we talked. We actually talked before she did her reunion. So, and I was just giving her my experience because I had filmed mine's already at that point. So we were talking and really bonded that way. And actually, I saw her a few weeks ago when I was here for her rebag event.
Oh my God, I have so many questions.
Yeah.
Did you give her any advice for the reunion?
I did. One of her concerns was the fact that, you know, this group of women, they've known each other for so long and she's new. And I was like, well, I'm kind of in the same situation. So I told her, I was like, just anything that's on your mind, like speak it. You know, don't be afraid just because they have this chemistry. Just, you know, say whatever's on your mind. And she didn't listen. But Tinsley she's so sweet. I can't even imagine that dynamic of women. I mean, Real Housewives of New York, I mean, they've been around a long time. So that can be quite intimidating. Yeah. I've also talked to Nene Leakes. I met her about 2 weeks ago, her and Cynthia, and I was so blown away. She is just amazing. Oh my goodness. It's funny because I guess I should know better by now since, this is my second season, but I'm always expecting to see everybody like hyped up when you meet them. But she was just so laid back and very warm and welcoming. Her and Cynthia, they were really, really sweet. Yeah, making my rounds.
Yeah, that's amazing. I mean, it must be such like a sisterhood because it's this very small, unique group of people that has this unique experience.
Yes, it really is. It really is. And it's amazing what social media can do. It really does like bring people together. So a lot of the housewives that I have met, we bonded over social media first. So I've even talked to or tweeted with Teddy Mellencamp from Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
She's so sweet. She's
my
really
God.
funny too. So
Totally.
we'll just go back and forth over Twitter, and hopefully one day we'll meet too.
Yeah, amazing. So it's your second season, but we have another new girl, Candiace.
Yes.
And you two get along.
Candy gal.
Yes.
I love her. She's a piece of work, but I love every bit of it. Like, she cracks me up. And I like her because she's not sensitive. Like, me and her will like joke on each other the same way I do with Karen. Like, we'll throw our little shade and we do it to each other's face, not behind each other's back. And we just keep it real. And I appreciate that.
Are you implying somebody else throws shade behind somebody's back?
Well, most of them, they do it behind the back. They, some people don't have a backbone as big as mine.
So have you like seen anything this season that was surprising or you didn't know had been said about you?
Oh, definitely. This most recent episode was very surprising to me because for all of this time, I didn't know where the whole "you had 4 drinks" came from.
And now you know.
And now I know. And when it was brought to me, the person who said it denied it to me and said they never said it. So watching the episode, I'm like, oh, okay. So I see there's been a lot of lying going on. So I'm very disappointed. But I mean, some people are just so stuck in their own misery that they would love to just bash you rather than be honest. And if they can't be honest with themselves in their own situations, I can't expect them to be honest with me.
Speaking of, I feel like big accusations are kind of being thrown about you. I mean, it's not like a small thing to say. What has that been like?
It's not fun at all, especially when you put something out there of that magnitude, saying I have an alcohol problem or saying that I was drinking and driving. As from a viewer's perspective, it's kind of going to be hard for them to change their mind. Once they have formulated their opinion, they're not going to change their mind. So, and that's very damaging, and I've always carried myself in a way where I try to be as responsible as possible, especially when it comes to drinking. Of course, I can go somewhere and enjoy and have my drink, but if I feel like I've passed my limit, I'm never going to get behind the wheel. Me and my husband, we actually will plan out when we go out together. It's like, all right, is it your turn to drink tonight or is it my turn? And then even at the end of the night, it's like, okay, did you have any drinks? Are you good? No, I'm not good. Let's get a car. Quickly, we'll do that. That's something that I would never play with, especially because I have young kids and I wouldn't want to harm anyone else. So when she kind of put that out there, I was just like, wow, why would you do that and tarnish my reputation and make me appear irresponsible? Like, I just, I was totally just taken aback and, I was hurt by it. That wasn't cool at all. I wouldn't even do that to my enemy.
Right. And to be clear, it's Ashley.
Yes, Ashley.
What is your relationship now? Have you like texted her being like, what did I just see?
I did not text her after I saw that. We were fine up until Sunday. We were fine. And after that, I said what I had to say over Twitter. I made sure I added her. I really have nothing to say to her. I guess I'll have to deal with that at reunion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you've also clashed with Robyn a little bit this season.
Well, Robyn clashed with me.
Right.
Everybody wants a piece of me.
Right. And your meme.
Oh, gosh. It was just so crazy because the level of pettiness and childishness that has been dropped on my lap. Like, I can throw shade and have fun and we can laugh and joke all day long. But I will never come after your finances. I'll never come after who you are as a person. I will not destroy your businesses, your character, your reputation. I'm not about that. I like to joke and have fun, but I'm never about tearing a person down. And for Robyn to take a meme that was created on a fan page, and because I liked the meme, and somehow try to tie that meme to me attacking her finances, I was like, you didn't really think this through, have you? Like, you really didn't put this all together too well. So I just felt like she was reaching without a step stool. And I just feel like the meme was of her fanning herself after I rapped at the reunion.
Yeah.
So I thought it was funny because obviously I kind of bashed everybody when I did the rap. And she was the last person that I said some things about. And she was just sitting there fanning herself. And I just thought it was funny. And then she ties that to me attacking her fanning. I'm like, oh, you know what? Whatever. Have at it.
So we see in the Super Tease this umbrella moment. How did that escalate to this you and her umbrellas
Oh, gosh.
happening?
So this is the interesting thing. When a person has already made it in their mind that they don't like you, they're going to find any and every situation, every little thing that comes out of your mouth and try to make it an issue for them. My issue was never with Robyn. It was always with Ashley. I did not like how she was lying behind my back. I did not like how she tried to take a situation and turn it into something totally different. And I actually wanted to talk to her one-on-one, but I knew she would be at this Scent event. So I decided that I was going to go and just stay to myself. I'm not going to say anything. I know myself. I know I go from 0 to 100, and I was still upset at that moment, and I knew that it would not be the proper time to address her. But of course, the ladies do what they do. They push you and push you. So finally, I let her know. We start having a heated exchange. How Robyn got in the midst of it is because she wanted to be. I was not even directing anything at her. So that just escalated and got out of hand. And what Robyn doesn't understand is that I'm not Ashley. You're not going to put your hand in my face, and you're not going to get in my face. Like, that's just not going to happen. So you might have bigger, broader shoulders than me, but I'm not afraid of you. I have some heels that I can use as a weapon, and I had an umbrella as well. And I'm going to defend myself as best as I can. I'm not ever a person that's going to back down to anybody. I don't care how big you are. My husband is 6'6", and he does not scare me. So I don't care that your voice is deeper than my husband's. Girl, bye. Like, whatever.
So where are you at with everyone kind of going into the reunion?
Oh, gosh. I really don't know. I really don't know. You never know what's going to happen. My mindset right now is that most of the women in this group are not my friend. They're not trying to be my friend. They're not trying to be friendly at all. So it's like, where do we go from here? And I've never been a person that will just try to attack someone for no reason. If I'm coming after you, it's because you came after me first. So it's going to be an interesting reunion, but I will say I'm ready.
Yeah. You kind of hinted at something that I always find really interesting about Housewives. Like, there's shade, and then there's like things you just don't touch.
Right.
I feel like we've kind of delved into that a lot more this season.
Oh yeah, a lot of lines being crossed for sure.
Yeah.
When you like I said, finances, family, business, certain things when it comes to that, you just don't do. But Ashley is a person who has shown that, that's not something that she cares about. Like, she'll definitely talk about your family, as she did Robyn. She'll definitely talk about your finances, as she did Karen. Like, all of the women have at some point crossed the line. Even myself. Like, even with starting that whole incident on the bus, with Candiace and Charrisse, it wasn't my intention to. I thought that everyone was over it. I thought Candiace herself was over it. We had a prior conversation about it. So I thought it was so funny. So I'm bringing it up in front of the whole group, and it just went totally left field. And I will say that Candiace did not start out as if she was being combative. She was just calling the moment a shady, B moment. And then, like I said, if a person doesn't like you, they're going to figure out a way to make something about them so that they can do the attack that they've wanted to do. And then at that point, Candiace defended herself, and I'm proud of her for doing that. I just wish that she would have, handled it in the moment. That was my main thing. If you feel it, handle it right then and there.
What else can you tell us about the season?
Oh, gosh. It's definitely a roller coaster. It's like one friendship will mend and then another's broken. It's like constant up and downs. And the moment that you think you have Real Housewives of Potomac figured out, something else happens and you're like, wait, now we're starting all over.
Oh my God, I can't wait to watch.
It's an intense season. It's definitely been entertaining as a viewer. Living it was not fun. It was quite stressful. But I hope that people can take something away from this, whether it's mending their own friendships, knowing which lines not to cross, and just trying to respect each other, even if you don't really care for the other person, just having some type of level of respect.
And we do this thing called Rose and Thorn, which we actually took from the Real Housewives of New York. So what would be your rose of the season and then your thorn of the season?
Okay, so my rose of the season, my rose of the season would definitely be getting to know people on a different level, whether good or bad. So people like Karen, I didn't spend much time with Karen my first season. This season, I got to really know her. And also, even with Candiace, she's new to the group, and we hit it off right from the start. May have had a little bump here or there, but I appreciate the journey and just learning about people who don't care for you. You know, you can't trust them with anything, you know, so it's like you pick and choose your battles. You know when to keep your distance, and you always keep your eyes open. So the thorn would definitely be the women with the attack of trying to portray me as if I'm an alcoholic on a girls trip, which is like what you do when you go on a girls trip. You get drunk. You don't have kids around yelling your name. That's like girls trip protocol, you know? So I was just like, wow, you know, I've seen every last one of you drunk before, and I've never come after you and said, do you have a problem? Because you wanted to enjoy yourself and kind of let your hair down. So that would definitely be my thorn.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even have kids, and that's my girls' trip protocol.
Yeah.
So, I get it.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much. This was
Thank
so
you.
fun.
Yes,
Yeah.
this is great. Thanks for having me.
We are here with Robyn Dixon. Yay! Thank you so much for being here.
It's my pleasure. Thank you
Yes.
for having me.
Yeah, well, congrats on season 3.
Thank you.
Can you believe it's been 3 seasons?
I cannot. I mean, I'm like, what crazy person does this? And I've been doing this for 3 seasons, so I guess I'm a crazy person.
What has been the most surprising thing about being on the show?
Jeez.
And we're going in right away.
There's like
Sorry.
tons of surprising things. I want to say just, okay, so it's one thing to like film the show. And so, you know, you go through like all the emotions during that, but it's actually kind of harder to relive the show and watch it while it's airing. So that's kind of surprising to me because it's just, you know, when you feel like you've moved on from stuff or it almost magnifies the issues like when you watch it back. And then you have, you know, people saying all types of crazy stuff on social media, and then, you know, you have to deal with your castmates who you feel like are telling one side of the story. You know, it's a lot. And so that is pretty surprising to me how like it gets, while the show is airing, it gets kind of ugly.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
Has anyone said anything or like you've seen a situation differently from watching it back?
You know, it's kind of interesting because I feel like so much gets left out. And I know it's a show. So, and I think it's kind of to give, it's very interesting because it's like I will watch something and then I'll receive comments and I'm like, are we watching the same show? Like, what?
That's not what happened.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't even know where you all are getting this stuff from because I'm watching the same show you're watching and I don't even see how anyone can interpret things differently than what I know them as. Right. But I think, you know, there's a good job. The show does a good job of leaving things to interpretation. You know, like that water cooler talk, so that you have two people who may have two completely different opinions about a scene or about some drama between two people, and one person will see it one way and another person sees it a completely different way. And it's just very interesting to see how things can be seen differently. However, I feel like everything that I did or said was true to how I felt and believed at that time, and a reaction to what other people were saying or doing, and just to see it be interpreted other ways is pretty interesting to me. I mean, I could acknowledge probably that umbrella scene. I probably took it a step too far. I mean,
Really?
well, in a sense, like she challenged me. She said, you know, say it to my face and see what's going to happen. I wanted to see what's going to happen. Like, I knew nothing was going to happen. Like, not a damn thing, right? Like, but when you are so mouthy, like, and you come out of your mouth to that, okay, let me see what's going to happen. So I got in her face, see what's going to happen, and I should have just left it at that rather than trying to like bait her into like doing something more, which I knew she wouldn't have done. So, but you know, when tensions rise, it's like, you know, people kind of, you don't even like when after the fact, I'm like, I don't even remember what happened. Like, I didn't even realize she had an umbrella to my neck. So after the fact, like, people are like, oh my God, she had an umbrella on your neck. I was like, she did? I didn't know. I was just trying to get her to like do something because she was so big and bold. So you know, I look back and I'm like, okay, I probably could have just taken it down like a couple of notches. I still would have challenged her, be like, what are you gonna do? Nothing, but. You know.
Well, the viewers thank you for not backing down.
Yeah.
You were talking a little bit coming into the office today about the Real Housewives of Orange County. Do you watch the other shows? Or you're like an exclusive group now with the Housewives?
Yeah. So you know, I kind of dibble and dabble with all of them. I am like super busy, so like I don't like, even when our show is on, I'm kind of like in a basketball gym. Like I'm always just all over the place. So I watch enough to know what's going on. I've always watched OC, like, so I pretty much keep up with, you know, what's going on with them. I love like New York. It's funny. I used to not like New York, and now I'm like, I love it. That one should be a case study because
Go on.
it should be a case study because these women have been doing this for so long, but they still feel fresh to me. Like,
yes.
You know what I mean? It's something so interesting about it. And I'm like, gosh, like how can I want to follow like that model. Like how do we just keep it where it feels authentic and genuine and fresh and not like people are, it's like it doesn't feel like they're housewives. Like it doesn't feel like they're celebrities or famous.
Yes.
Where I think on some of the shows, like the status goes to people's heads a little bit and they change, and the way they act and the things that they say and the things that they show like change, and you feel like you're not seeing like a real full-on genuine life. And I just think New York, like they do a really great job.
Yeah, they put it all out there.
Yeah.
I've seen all of them, more than I thought I would ever see.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure. You're right here. I'm sure they're like in here all the time, like, Rachael.
Do you know any of the other housewives? Have they been in contact or anything?
So I know Kenya. She came in town and we had dinner, and I love her. She's such a doll. Yeah. So we keep in touch. I haven't really. It's funny. Like I don't think I met Portia, but it was very brief. But I don't really know anyone else.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Kenya.
Yes.
Nice.
She's a doll. I love her.
Did you guys commiserate just about being housewives or anything?
We did, but it was also just, you know, this is funny. So we met when before she got married. But the whole time she's like FaceTiming this guy. And she's like, you know, and we're like, and so Gizelle was with me, and we're like, who's that? And then a few months later, it was like she secretly got married, and I was like, okay, like, and I totally understood because I saw how like smitten she was. But, you know, even though she was kind of still being secretive about it, I could tell that she was smitten with someone. So when I saw that she got married, I was like, oh, that's awesome.
Oh
Good
my
for
God,
her.
I love that.
Yeah.
She was just like already just like
Oh,
over
yeah.
the moon.
She was so smitten. Yeah.
Oh. But I wanted to get into your relationship with Juan.
Okay.
We have to ask, we're kind of seeing maybe you guys moving forward. I know you guys live together now, but maybe rekindling. Is that maybe happening?
Yeah, you know what, it's weird. Like, I really can't put, like, a title or a definition on what we are, but we are moving towards a better place. And so I think, you know, we haven't, like, definitively said, you're my boyfriend, or, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
that's just
yeah.
weird, you know? Like, so, but I think we kind of are moving in that direction where we're, like, ready to just say, you know what, let's try to focus on each other and, you know, move forward. So we'll see.
Oh, well, that's so exciting. I know
Yeah.
fans are going to be excited to hear that.
you.
What does it feel like knowing everyone is like in love with your husband or ex-husband?
I think it's awesome. I mean, look, I would rather people to think he's hot than to be like, ooh. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and I mean, and honestly, like him being hot, like that helps me out. You know what I mean? It's like we're like a nice little package.
Yes.
And so I love it. I mean, he is, and he's always been handsome, and he's an amazing person. He's grown a lot, and I love that the world can see that in him as well. I hated season 2 and how people perceived him, because I feel like when the cameras were around, he just wasn't in the mood to film, and it came through, and that was the perception that people had of him. So I really love that he kind of watched himself back from season 2, and he was like, oh yeah, okay, I see, I get it. Like, let me act like
like myself.
Yeah, let me act like myself rather than being annoyed with the cameras, because it's not normal.
All right, it's not like an everyday thing to just have cameras in your house.
Cameras, lights, people, that it's just not normal. And so it took him a while to grasp that and to get comfortable with that. And so I love that people are seeing a different side of him.
Yeah, that was going to be one of my questions, that he seems much more open this year to be on camera.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he realizes that his little attitude, it's like on camera, it's like it's magnified. And so he didn't want that to be the story of our relationship, because that's not what it was. Like, even during season 2, we weren't in a bad place. It just looked that way.
Right.
So
I remember you saying last time you were here that he doesn't really watch the show, but it sounds like he does. Is he watching now?
So it's funny. He'll say like he doesn't watch it, and then if it's on, he'll like sit and watch it. And I'm like trying to like change the channel, because
like, I don't want you to see this necessarily.
Right, because he comes back at me and he's like, I told you not to say anything to Karen. I told you not to. Like, he'll come back and like tell me like, didn't I say don't do that? And I'm like, oh God, you weren't supposed to see this because you don't watch the show. But now you're like watching the show, and now I'm getting in trouble for things. But then it's funny. So like, we were one of the episode when we were in Nemacolin, and it was going to commercial, and Karen calls me a dizzy bitch, and it goes to commercial, and it like cuts to commercial, and he's like, I hope you laid into her. And I was like, okay, like, I'm confused. What do you want me to do? You want me-
Am I leaning in or am I not?
Right. Do you want me to be nice? You want me to mind my business? You want me to cuss people out? Like, I don't know. But I was like, no. I was like, Juan, like, I just let her have that moment. Like, so he was like pissed. And then there'll be times when he's like, he sees something. He'd be like, what's her number? I'm calling her now. I'm like, no, we're not doing that. Or what's his number? Like, if a little husband gets involved and he's like, oh, I can't even believe he's falling for that stuff. What's his number? And I'm like, Juan, seriously. So he actually, that scene at Monique's party, when I get into it with Monique, and then I got into it with Ashley, and I left. I called him from the car and I said, I'm on my way home. And he's like, what happened? I'm like, well, they're at, Ashley's at it again. Like, I literally had to leave because I felt myself getting to a point where I was going to explode. And I was like, I can't do this. So, So I left, and I was in the car, and I was telling him what's going on. What happened? He was like, what's her phone number? So he called her. So they didn't show that. Like, the cameras got her talking to him, and she's like, Juan, I'm not going to tell me. It was crazy. And he's like, Ashley, leave my family alone. You know what I mean? So he's both of us are very direct people. Like, we like to communicate when stuff happens, rather than just like letting stuff fester. Mm-hmm. So he very much is like, I'm gonna talk to her now. And I'm like, okay. So
do you think that helped your relationship with Ashley at all? Did she like get it more when like Juan too was like, come on? Or
well, no, not at that moment, because then you saw like,
right. The lunch later.
Yeah, we go to the lunch, and she's still yapping, and I'm like, I think Ashley just realized she just needed to let it go. Like it was just weird to me. Like, why did she care so much? I didn't understand that. So
you mentioned Karen, so we have to talk about it. Number one, this pizza delivery. How did that happen? You're the one delivering the pizza, right?
Yes, right. How did I? So this was all Gizelle and Ashley's idea. Like, they swore up and down that Karen didn't live in that house, and I'm like, okay, I don't like. Why do you think that? That doesn't make sense. Like, who would just like get a house and stage it and not live there? Like, it just. I'm like, okay, I'm along for the ride though. So they're like, we got to do a stakeout. We got to go, roll up and spy and see if she's there. I'm like, whatever. I'm like, look, I don't quite agree with what they're saying, like that she doesn't live there, but I'm like, yeah, I'll roll with you. I'll see what happens. Now, how I became the delivery man?
I was gonna say, but you're the culprit.
Right. How I became the delivery man, I do not know. But you know what? Like, honestly, like, I just like to laugh and have fun and be silly and goofy. And I looked at it as just like a fun moment. I mean, what's the worst that can happen? Like, she answers the door and I'm like, here's your pizza.
Right.
You know, because
right.
it could be like, you know, she sees me dressed in a mustache and a beard and she gets a kick out of it, or she's like yelling at me and calling me all types of names. Like,
Right.
at this
but
point,
that's happened before.
exactly. So I'm like, you know, I mean, so even like with the wig thing, when we stole her wig,
Right.
I was scared she was going to be livid. It was like, I'm like, oh my God, she's going to be so mad that we went in her stuff and Ashley put her wig on. But like, she got the biggest kick out of it. So I was like, oh, thank God. But so it was one of those situations. Like, was really hoping she would answer the door and just get a kick out of me, the pizza delivery man.
And then definitively, do you think Karen lives there now after that?
I do. I thought she lived there before, and I think she lives there now.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Robyn. This
You're
was
welcome.
so fun.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's a pleasure.
We are here with Candiace Dillard.
Hello.
Oh, hello. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm here. I'm in New York.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
What's
it's
happening?
so exciting.
Yeah.
When I said hello to you earlier, you sang a little bit for me.
I did. Well, it was just a little bit of hello.
Oh, so good.
It's me.
We
Just
get
a
little tastes on the show, and I always just want to
know.
hear more.
Oh my gosh. Look, the girls hate my singing because I do it all the time. But I've just always been that way. I came
Yeah.
out of the womb singing, I think. And I used to walk through the house just making up songs. And I forget a lot of things. Like if I'm packing and I forget something, the only way that I'll remember something is if I make up a song
Oh my
to
God,
it.
that's amazing.
Yeah, so like I have a satin pillowcase that I sleep on when I travel so that my hair doesn't break off.
Mm-hmm.
And I always forget it. So I made up a song. And how does it go? It's don't forget your pillowcase, or your hair will get real nappy and you won't be very happy.
Oh my God, that was so good. Oh my God, that could be a single.
I wasn't warm.
You're gonna pillowcase single is gonna be coming out.
The pillowcase song.
So we do something that's fun with First Wives called the First Wives Club.
Oh.
So we just have like a bunch of questions since
Okay.
you're new. So first of all, can you state your full name for the record?
My full name is Candiace Dominique Dillard.
Ooh, Dominique is the
Yes.
middle name.
Yes.
And then you have such a unique spelling of your name.
I do.
How
Thanks,
did that
Dad.
come about? Oh, Dad.
Yeah, my dad just wanted an extra letter. And my mom tells everyone that she named me after her two favorite actresses, Candice Bergen and Dominique Devereaux from the soap opera Dynasty. So Diane Carroll, who played Dominique Devereaux on Dynasty.
Amazing.
So I was born to be dramatic.
I was
Like,
gonna say-
it's not my fault.
Made for Housewives. Will you be taking Chris's last name?
I will. Yes.
Okay.
Of course. I will probably keep my last name on like paper, like on social media and such. I've sort of built up a bit of a following, so I want to keep, my followers in the know with Candiace Dillard or Miss Dillard. But yes, on paper, I will be Candiace Bassett. Oh, that's so weird to say.
Oh my gosh, how exciting. Will you be able to stop saying suspend?
I don't know. I'm trying to use it as much as possible because I know I'm going to be so sad. Like, maybe he'll still be husband, aka husband.
Yes, I like it. I've been like saying it everywhere. It's like so
Yes.
fun.
I love it.
So I want to talk to you about joining the cast.
Yes.
What was it like? We're in season 3. You're the new girl.
Gosh. I keep saying this, it was interesting. I went into the experience really with no expectations. I wanted to be a sponge and really take it all in and really get to know the women. And of course, I watched the show prior to being on the show because it's homework. You have to know the job you're going to do, okay? You wouldn't go to a job interview and not know what the job is about, okay? So I did watch, and of course, and I watched because I knew Ashley. I wanted to support my girl, but also because of my proximity to the show. I lived in the DMV. I wanted to see, they're going to this restaurant. I've eaten there. I've been to that bar. But then when I was blessed to become a member of the cast, I made a very concerted effort to not judge based on what I had seen because you never know, and you want to get to know people at face value, in the flesh, not based on what you see on television. And Gizelle will often say that I was a fan and I watched the show and I'm getting a lot of my my beats from the show, from watching the show. And the answer to that is no, it's not true. She knows how to separate real from fake, which is why she does not like Gizelle.
Oh, speaking of Gizelle, I want to talk to you. Based on your blogs, I'm sensing you two have not made up.
Well, I don't define making up. When you're I feel like with someone like Gizelle, there isn't really making up, period. She is perpetually stirring the pot and starting drama. Like even with her quote unquote best friend Robyn, I would never shade my best friend the way that Gizelle has shaded Robyn, calling her linebacker shoulders, talking about how her home is only 3 feet bigger than her other home. Those are not the words of a supportive friend. Like, what are we doing? So I see Gizelle for who she appears to be to me, and I have that knowledge in my back pocket, and I'm living my best life regardless.
See, you're not the first person to have kind of butted heads, we'll say, with Gizelle.
You don't say. You don't say. Yeah, no.
Did you find any camaraderie with Monique and Ashley because of that?
No, I think that my relationship with Monique was totally organic. I was not expecting for us to hit it off like we did at that Bliss brunch at all. Like, it just kind of happened. And those are the kind of friendships that I want to nurture and to explore. And then having already known Ashley, that was a friendship that I want to continue to grow. And even with Karen, totally unexpected. Like, I had no idea that when I met her at at Chris's birthday party, we were going to hit it off that way. But she's such a warm spirit, as is Monique. And Ashley is just so free spirited. I just love her energy. That those are the kind of friendships that I want to work on. And then everybody else can kind of just hang out and we'll see what happens.
Okay.
I'm not for everybody.
So, any regrets about anything that happened this season?
Well, yes. So I try to live my life without any regrets, even if it's something that's like kind of cringeworthy. I try to find the purpose in the cringe and like work around it and learn from it. But I will say that there is a moment when Chris and I are leaving an event for Monique. It was like the Boys and Girls Club or some sort of gala. And Chris and I got into a little heated argument at the venue as we're leaving, and then it carried over into the Uber, and then it carried over into the house, and then it carried over into the next day. And it became this huge blow up, and I said some things that I wish I had not said, that I said out of anger and feeling attacked. And I think my character flaws is that when I feel attacked, I clap. Like, it's immediate. And I could learn to maybe, in some instances, meaning not on that shade wagon of a bus, but in some instances, I could learn to be more introspective and say, okay, well, what have I done or what have I said in this space? And definitely with Chris, especially because he is my husband and I always want to respect him, I do feel like I kind of lost my cool, unfortunately.
What has it been like to watch moments again? Because this is like the first time for you, I'm sure.
Yeah. I don't know. It's weird and it's nerve-wracking. Like, when I watch the playback, my heart is beating like the whole time, because it's like, oh shit, what did I say here? Like, what did I do? Oh my God, what happened? So it's definitely nerve-wracking, but it's really weird to see yourself. Like, you know what happened, you were there, you were in the moment, but you don't know maybe what Ashley said or what Robyn said or what faces Gizelle was making. So to kind of see it all come together and see it from all angles, it's kind of like, oh, this is kind of great. This is crazy as hell. What are we doing?
What has been like the most shocking or surprising thing that you have learned watching it back, like in an interview or not knowing somebody rolled their eyes or?
Shocking. I don't know. I don't think I'm shocked. I feel like everyone for me has the person that I've seen them to be in person, meaning all the girls on the cast, they come across that same way on the screen. Like Monique loves to talk. She loves to talk. She's a talker. She loves to flap her gums. She's talking a lot and flapping her gums and giving us all the tea and the information, and she's geeking and laughing, and she's being like her fun-loving self. And Ashley surprises me a little bit though, because you don't realize she's not messy in your face, so to speak. Her shade is more like, I'm gonna shade you in this confessional because you can't clap back at me in the confessional. That'd probably be a shocker, that to see how messy she can be.
Yeah. It must be so crazy just to watch back moments of your life and then have to be accountable for them again.
Yes. But I literally try to own all of it. Like there have been some cringe moments with all of the talk about Chris's penis.
I'm so glad you brought it up, because I was like, how do I ask someone?
Yeah, there have been some cringeworthy moments there, and just seeing all of the commentary from people on social media, and of course my mother is mortified. And like even my dad, I don't think he's not gonna talk to me about it, because I feel like he wouldn't even know what to say. So like that's been kind of like, but I have to own my truths, and my truth is my husband has a brown penis. That's the truth. What do you want from me? Like, what do you want from me? I can't make things up. I have to live in my truth, and that's a factual and actual situation.
Well, thank you for sharing with everyone.
You're welcome.
You kind of hinted at this, the big clash on the bus, and you kind of clashed with Gizelle. What has the Twitter and social response been?
Oh my goodness. I'm calling it the shade wagon. We were riding up to Nemacolin on the shade wagon. And I've gotten a pretty favorable, supportive response from people, which is a relief, because it can be hard when you were there, you know what happened, you know how you felt, and to have like opposing opinions. But there's always detractors and haters everywhere. But for the most part, people see where I'm coming from, and that I don't like to start drama. I don't like to make, waves where there don't need to be any. But if the wave comes to my door, she's going to answer. And I did. And that's really what it was. Charrisse made a shady comment. I made the choice to not speak on it at cryotherapy because it just wasn't the right time. And that was my choice, and I stand by that. I don't really subscribe to the idea that I was pushed or puppeteered by Ashley and Monique to speak up for myself on the shade wagon. I did that because that was the time that I chose to do it. And I hadn't really seen them I didn't see the ladies from cryotherapy to the bus. The next time I saw them was on the bus. So what Charrisse said kind of sat with me, and it was kind of like, yeah, that was a shady moment. That was a shady bitch moment. And it might not have come up again, but then Monique brought it up and I commented on it. I wasn't angry about it. I wasn't upset. I wasn't, I wasn't losing sleep over it.
What I thought was funny is that her saying that to you could be viewed as like innocuous shade, light shade, but you saying shady bitch moment, I felt was like just very light shade too. I didn't think it was like some huge thing.
It wasn't. I didn't think about how it would come off. I didn't think, oh, let me not say this because she'll be offended. It was like, ha ha ha, yeah, that was just a shady bitch moment, girl. It's all right. And if you see on the show when you're watching that moment, I was talking to Gizelle at that moment, and Charrisse is like steady, like, what? You call me a shady bitch. What? I'm a shady bitch. And I don't even acknowledge it until Robyn is like, wait, she called you a shady bitch. And I'm like,
I love your impersonations of everyone, by the way.
I'm good at my voices. But no, and it's like, oh, okay, what you said was a shady bitch moment. What else is happening? What's next? And it escalated because she then called me, oh, I don't play with little girls. Okay, well, I don't play with old women either. what else is going on? Like, what's happening? What's next? And it just kept going because she continued with the attacks. If she had just laughed it off, like I laughed off what she said at cryotherapy, we would have been, kumbayaing and sashaying up to Nemacolin on the J bus, and it would have been nothing. But because she kept pushing, you're not going to push me and me not push back. That's just not going to happen. And like I said this on Twitter, Charrisse brought the drama to my door, and I answered my door. Hello, come in so I can get you together real quick.
So where are you now with Charrisse?
So Charrisse and I are fine now.
Oh,
yeah,
that's surprising.
Yeah, we had the moment, and it was what it was in the moment, and then we were kind of drunk. We were drunk in Nemacolin, and we go to dinner after that lunch, and I am so drained and just completely retired from all of the mess. And I was kind of hungover too because we were drinking all day on the bus. And I just kind of sat there and let everybody else claw each other's eyes out. And after that, Charrisse and I kind of have a moment and we just let it go. And I can appreciate that Charrisse is also lighthearted and fun. And like I said, I didn't really take offense to her, what she said. What she said about my mom buying the ring was rude. But it's like, okay, girl, I think for me, because I know there are so many things that I can come for in Charrisse's life, I just don't, like, you're not serious. You're not for real. All of the women, which is why I'm like, I own my truths, because half of what I'm saying mirrors your life in a lot of ways. Like, at the end of the day, we're all kept bitches, okay? Who cares? Who cares who's writing the checks? Everybody is kept. I think that I exhibit a bit more of a business acumen and, some semblance of independence financially, because I do have my businesses, albeit started or funded and financed by my mother initially. Gizelle had to get an investor to, and she has business partners that put in an investment to start Every Hue Beauty. That's standard practice. It's just that mine comes from my mother, and she had to go out and find 3 other random women or friends, whatever, to start her business. But it's, we are all privileged. And that's why I felt comfortable talking about, who I was and where my money came from and how I live my life, because I didn't expect to receive such hypocritical shade from people that are just as kept as they come.
So we have time for one more question. Is there anything you want to set straight for the audience through the season?
I will say this. I said this when we were in France. I am not a monolith. I'm not a monolithic person, a monolithic woman. There are many layers and facets to me, and this show was only 45 minutes a week, okay? So you're not going to get all of that in one episode or even in one season. And God willing, we get another season and I'm invited back to be on that season, you'll get more of me. You'll see more of me. But I think it's a journey that we're all on together. And I would love for the Twitterverse to just simmer down with their judgments because it takes time to get to know people. And you will see me, laughing. You'll see me shading. You'll see me crying. You'll see me shading while I'm crying. It's a whole roller coaster that we should just go on together and just love each other.
Well, I love you on the show, and I love reading your blogs. And if you guys aren't reading Candiace's blogs, you should, because they're hilarious. And thank you so much for being
this was
here.
So fun. Thank you for having me. Yes.
Yeah.
Looking fine, and I got my girls with me. With the boys at the table getting tipsy. Miss